on the lesson that I did yesterday. So and what he said was, I'm finna pull it up. This guy, man. I don't know who the guy is. My first time seeing his avatar, whatever it is. But this is what he said. I just want to mention it. He left a whole book, right? So make sure it's sharing so you can see. Okay. So this one the lesson I did yesterday. Vex with filthy conversation, which I left out a couple precepts because I forgot to read the main precept, which was Second Peter about how Lot was vexed. But anyway, so this say Hijah Zion. He said, "Sir, kind regards." Listen to this. I ain't gonna even call him a demon. Listen to this guy. He says, "Sir, kind regards. I enjoyed the topic and content of your lesson. It was very edifying. Thank you. However, why do some of the holy prophets of Great Millstone use profanity while preaching and or teaching the word or teaching the holy word of Yahushua? Why do they mimic the unholy foul language of the pagans when preaching or teaching the holy word of King Yahushua Hamashiach, which he spelled Hamashiach totally off? They said, why do they mingle unclean foul profanity of the pagans with the holy precious word of Yahushua? In Isaiah 6, 1 through 9, Prophet Isaiah repented because he and his household were people of unclean lips. When in the Holy Scriptures, read in Isaiah 6, 1 through 7. So, before I read the rest of this, let's read Isaiah 6, 1 through 7, right? And I told them what it was talking about in verse 7. So I'm going to read it real quick. Lord, will this be edifying? This is Isaiah chapter 6. Now, he think this is talking about profanity. So it say, in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twine he covered his face, and with twine he covered his feet, and with twine he did fly. And one cried unto another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Yahweh of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. Then said I, woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. Right? For my eyes have seen the King, the Lord Yahweh of hosts. Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar. And he laid it upon my mouth and said, Lo, this have touched thy lips, and thy iniquity, listen, and thy iniquity is taken away, and thy sin is purged. Now, right here, this is what Isaiah said, verse 5. Then said I, woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips, for my eyes have seen the King, the Lord Yahweh, Bahajim Habashab host. Say, then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar. He laid it upon my mouth, and he said, Lo, this have touched thy lips, and thy iniquity is taken away, and thy sin is purged. So what I told him was, this ain't talking about no profanity, man. It's talking about This was Isaiah representing the elect, the hopefully elect being purged, their sins purged away, their iniquities, man, through Yahushua. Okay, Isaiah mentioned Yahushua was going to be born, right? They also tell you That's in Isaiah 2. I forgot what verse it is. That the voice that cried from the wilderness, which he was talking about John the Baptist, right? So he said he dwell amongst unclean people, right? With unclean lips. This is Hosea 8 and 8. It reads, Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no place. So I told him that was talking about Israel being purged. So I said, I had to write this down because I was at the plantation. I say, just as Job represented the elect, right, going through trials and tribulations, adversities and afflictions, the same is with Isaiah representing the elect, the hopeful elect, being purged from their sins and iniquities. It's like the same difference, man. As Job represented the elect going through trials and tribulations, adversities and afflictions, the same as Isaiah representing the hopeful elect, returning back to Yahweh Shema Shah, turning back to your heavenly Father Yahweh through Yahweh Shah. So it say, because he put up the whole verse, Isaiah 6, 1 through 7. So then he say, therefore, respectfully, my fellow just Israelite. And I say, hey, first off, we ain't no Israelites. You got to be one. I don't know who this guy is. It say, therefore, respectfully, my fellow GMS Israelite brother, please urge fellow GMS Israelites to stop using profanity. Leviticus 20 and 26 commands us to be holy and set apart for for Yahweh's use and glory only, and to reverence him. Leviticus 24:3 illustrates to blaspheme and to use profanity and cursing will result in death. There are youth, there are youth that desire to hear the word of Yahushua through GMS prophets, but they often complain about the use of profanity being used in the sermons. For the use of profanity is unseemly and unholy in and out itself. Profanity is the perverted and unclean language of the heathen that Yasharallah inherited, adopted from, and used to curse themselves, their names, and their masters. Esau, he say, pop up. So he said, did Yahshua Mashiach use profanity when speaking? No, not ever. So, so he exited out the others, whatever this is. So he said he put up. So when Yahweh Shai, he said, did Yahweh Shai use profanity? No, not ever. So when Yahweh Shai called the Pharisees and Sadducees vipers and serpents, what was that? What was that? In that time, there was no uh shit, hell, damn, fuck, and motherfucker, and all that, right? So he put up Ephesians 4 and 29. He said, let not corrupt communication, which I read yesterday in my lesson. Let not corrupt communication, profanity proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And he put up Psalms 8 and 7. Regarding the wicked, this verse declares, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. You see, that's why you Jakes need to be quiet because you don't know what you be talking about, man. You see? And so let me finish reading this.